Yamazaki went to summon the others, and we waited for a while. Kondo-san, Hijikata-san, and Saito-san came into the common room shortly after.
ご無沙汰しております。近藤局長、土方副長、斉藤さん。
あ、
おお、よく来てくれた相馬くん。先日の視察以来か。
はい。陸軍隊が大阪に戻るのに合わせ、足を伸ばして顔を出させていただきました。
陸軍隊か。先日の征伐ではかなりの被害が出たと聞くが。
Were you injured at all, Souma? Souma fell silent once more. He seemed hesitant to speak, but eventually he began to open up.
実は俺も陸軍隊として参戦しましたが、先の戦では予備役として留め置かれたためにほとんど戦う機会はありませんでした。
Reserves is a familiar sentence around here, so don't worry, we know how you feel, Souma.
そいつは残念だったな。とはいえ、大気も任務のうちだろ。
はい。ですから俺はそんな状況でもいつでも戦に関われるように備えていました。ですが、そう考えていたのは俺だけで、周りの者はそう思っていなかった。前線に出ないで済んだ。ほっとした。戦は誰かに任せればいい。聞こえてくるのはそんな声ばかり。兵だけでなく上役までもがそうでした。
仕方あるまい。皆が皆武士の誇りを持っているわけではないということだ。
それで陸軍隊に失望したってとこか。
いえ、失望したというより憤りを感じました。武士として誇りを持つために脱藩までして入隊したのに、以前にいた藩とそう変わらない現状。たまたま配属先がそうだっただけかもしれませんが、あまりにも。
Souma looking for a fight. As Souma vented his frustration, his voice was quivering. We listened closely to his lamentation. There we go. Who could blame him for him to make the effort to better himself and have it blow up in his face? I'm sure it was difficult for him to hold his head high while those around him acted shamefully.
すみません。お上の軍に対してこのようなことを言ってしまうと。
謝ることはない。確かに公然と批判するのは良くないが。
Hold on. There's an ice cream truck outside. It's loud and I don't know if the microphone picks it up.
君の懸念は俺も感じていたことだからな。お上のために戦おうという者たちが近頃はあまりに少なすぎる。
近藤局長。
相馬、あんたの気持ちはわからなくもない。振るわれぬ刃などどれほど尖れていてもただ虚しいだけだ。迷っているのではないか。自分がいるべき場所が本当にそこなのかどうか。
はい、今も迷い続けています。このまま陸軍隊に居続けるのか、それとも。
Souma cut himself off. He struggled to form words as his mouth shook.
本日参上したのは他でもありません。
He seemed to have made up his mind, and he turned proudly to face Kondo-san.
以前、近藤局長からお誘いを受け、 再び新選組をこの目で確かめたいと思ったからです。
そうか、それで訪ねてきてくれたんだな。それで君の目から見てどうだね。
普通版を出したものはどこに行っても軽く扱われるもの。一度主を変えたくら替え者として冷遇され弾かれることも少なくありません。ですがここは違うと感じました。
まあそういう意味で言うならうちなんざはぐれ者の集まりだからな。
Souma? What do you mean, Souma? She just gave Soma a nickname?
脱藩者も少なくねえし、そもそも俺自身が武士の出でもねえ。
Oh god.
同じく俺も他の場所では受け入れてもらえぬ身だった。
そんな事情を抱えた者でも分け隔てなく幕府のお役に立てる。それが俺の受けた新選組の印象でした。俺が刀を捧げられるとしたらここを置いて他にはありません。
Soma made his declaration proudly, looking the captain straight in the eye. Then he bowed deeply and prostrate.
お願いします。自分を新選組にお加えください。
Soma.
相馬くん、一つだけ聞かせてほしい。君は武士とは何だと思う？
残念ながら若輩者の俺にはまだわかりません。
Eh? What you mean?
ですがこの新選組でならその答えが見出せる気がするんです。
ああ、その通りだと思う。俺たちもまだ答えを見つけられていない。誠の武士の道は未だ見えず、だからこそ歩み続けているんだ。
Kondo-san chuckled lightly and then looked to Saito and Hijikata-san, who nodded to one another.
いいだろう。新選組局長として君の入隊を認めよう。
Kazuo Soma, Chief's page. He quit the Shogunate army and joined the Shinsengumi.
本当ですか？
ただし近藤さんが目をかけたからといって甘やかすつもりはねえからな。
That smile says otherwise, Hijikata-san.
ついてくる気があるならば己の足でついてこい。
No, don't tell him that. No, don't tell him that. He becomes a puppy.
いずれあんたが俺たちの隣に並べるような存在になる日まで。
Soma beamed, barely able to contain his joy. It made him smile. You activated puppy mode.
どうした雪村、何か言いたいことでもあるのか？
I was so happy for him. Oh, I'm just happy for him. Oh yeah, he looks like he looks like a human, but he has puppy energy.
相馬が新選組入りしたことがか？
Hi. I think it's wonderful for someone to find somewhere they belong.
それじゃまずは一般の大使扱いからやってもらうことにするか。
俺の3番組でも構いませんが。
Saito actually offering him a position? Holy shit. Wait.
いや、もうすでに決めている。彼は俺の小姓見習いとしよう。
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because Soma doesn't have a position in the division. He's Kondo's page.
俺のそばで武士とは何かをぜひ見つけてくれ。
はい、頑張ります。
雪村君、悪いが都市の小姓として 彼に仕事を教えてやってくれないか。
Me?
局長、よろしいのですか？局長好きともなれば、よほど信頼のおけるものでなければ。
彼なら大丈夫だろう。俺も最近忙しくなって身の回りを見てくれるものが欲しいと思っていたんだ。それに彼ならばいずれは雪村君の事情も分かってくれると思う。
ま、近藤さんがそう言うなら俺から文句はねえ。
Kondo-san nodded, and I turned towards Souma.
これからは先輩と呼ばせていただきます。よろしくお願いします。
Puppy mode! Puppy mode! Let me say that actually properly. Sensei! I wasn't used to having power over anyone here, so being referred to in this way tickled me.
先日入隊した野村君という大使がいる。彼ともども雪村君に小将としての心得をいろいろ教わるといい。
Nomura! Ryuzaburo Nomura, Chief's Page, a warrior that joined the Shinsengumi at the same time as Souma. Yes, Kondo-san has 2 pages, and I have zero clue why. Well, I guess it makes sense if Kondo-san is the chief of the Shinsengumi, that he would have more pages than Hijikata, who's the vice commander. But still. Wait, are you saying you want to be learning from someone like me, Soma? Or, wait, did I read that wrong? I think I read that wrong. I can't remember. My brain is somewhere else. Are you sure you want to be learning from someone like me, Soma?
もちろんです。それと先輩なんですから、敬語もさん付けもいりません。
Well, let's figure out a lesson plan first. Was it okay for him to trust me as his teacher? Are you ready to be my disciple, Soma?
はい、よろしくお願いします。雪村先輩。
To be fair, I think my voice is too deep for the protagonist. I don't know. That's just my opinion, though. After the dust cleared following the Hamaguri rebellion, the shogun set about cleaning house. The Choshu expedition was launched by the shogun once the Choshu domain were declared enemies of the court. Perhaps feeling they dodged a bullet, the Choshu domain fell silent for a time. Their obedience was short-lived, however, and before long their disrespect for the shogun became impossible to ignore. In order to investigate further, the shogun had decided to send the envoy to the Choshu domain. Kondo-san was asked to accompany an envoy sent to the Choshu to investigate their behavior. However, the Choshu domain refused to even meet with the envoy. Fed up with their insubordination, the shogunate ordered the second Choshu expedition. However, the war was a costly one, exhausting both the resources and the men from all over the domains, whose morale began to falter. To add to the fire, word of Shogun Iemochi's passing shook all of Japan, and some domains even withdrew, which made the situation even more dire. The second Choshu expedition had ended in a surprisingly major loss for the shogunate troops. October 1866. The pillar of the Tokugawa shogunate, which stood strong for 260 years, was beginning to show signs of instability. That day, I was accompanying Saito on his rounds. Oh, it's skippy time. Another summer came and went, memories frozen in the amber of the autumn season. Oh, this is something I haven't seen before. Alright, we're in new territory.
やったひょっとしてもう終わりはあ二人とも 点でダメだね。
Soji! The sound of bokken swinging and clashing ran throughout the inner court under the gleaming sun. Blech. It was a beautiful afternoon for sword training. Okuta stared down at his two pupils, who were sprawled along the floor that should really be ground, panting. He set down his wooden sword and sighed. Okuta, do you think you were a bit too rough on them?
稽古をつけてほしいって言ったのは相馬くんと野村くんの方でしょ。
Oh yeah, that was their first mistake, asking Okuta to train them.
仮にも新選組の端くれだったらこのぐらいの一撃は避けてくれないと。
I wanted to say something along the lines of "Don't take it too far," but I kept quiet. Eventually, the two rose from the ground.
いって沖田さん、ちょっとは手加減してくださいよ。
へえ、野村くんが戦場で戦う敵は手加減してくれるんだ。随分と優しいんだね。まあ幹部並みになれとは言わないけど、局長好きの故障を名乗りたかったらせめてもう少し強くなってほしいよね。
Nomura! I wish Nomura had his own route, but sadly he does not.
いざって時は近藤さんの盾になって死んでもらわないといけないし。
His eyes were brought to a squint as he spoke. They were so cold that any person with a weak disposition could likely crumble before him. However, Souma noted Okita's suggestion, accepting that what his teacher was telling him.
言われるまでもありません。主君のために体を張るのが武士の責務です。
まだそれだけ言える元気があったんだ。
What do you mean hide Discord? Oh right, it made a sound. I figured it out just as I said it.
これだけ痛めつけられたら普通は音を上げるものだけど。
俺ならまだ大丈夫ですから、もう一本お願いします。
よっしゃ、相馬がやるなら俺も。
Nomura, always here. Discord, why? Ah, I see why. Alright, there we go.
調子狂うな。
Their training lasted until the sun began to descend into the sunset and dusk emerged. As each hour passed, I could have sworn that I heard swing after swing of their wooden swords. I had brought water and some towels to the two trainees on the floor. This is really pissing me off because it really should be ground. You two okay?
大丈夫に見えるか。これが。
おい、野村。先輩に対して少しは口の利き方に気をつけろ。
As I examined their bodies, I saw they were covered in bruises. Hardly what I'd call all right. I wrung the towel over a bucket to squeeze out the water and placed the towel over their bruises. So, how are you enjoying life around the headquarters?
ええ、まだ学ぶところは多いですが、おかげさまで少しずつ。
けど正直ここまで稽古が厳しいとは思わなかったぜ。
Well, you were the ones that asked Okita of all people. The person sitting before me who smiled bitterly through his soreness was Rizaburo Nomura. He, like many others, had left his domain to join the Shinsengumi around the same time as Souma. They are both equal in standing since they both served Kondo as his pages in training. since they were around the same age, they became fast friends. Well, Okita's training is known to be the harshest amongst the captains. But I think you two are holding up fine. Normally, people would have given up by now.
入隊してすぐにへこたれていては笑われますから。
Souma, despite his bruises, seemed so content. By the time I had returned from the well to bring them more water, the two were still caught up in discussion over their training.
しかし、沖田さんの強さは本物だ。二人がかりで一撃も入れられないとは。
ああ、俺も剣の腕には多少自信あったし、その辺の連中には負けねえつもりだったけどよ。沖田さんは別格だよな。全然勝てる気がしねえ。
聞いた話だが、新選組には沖田さんに匹敵する達人が他にもいるらしいぞ。
I mean, just the other day, supposedly Saito beat Okita in training. And Saito-san was beaten by Nagakura, and then Nagakura couldn't beat Okita.
そう聞くと、改めてこの新選組がどんな場所か思い知らされるな。
けどよ、これだけ強者揃いの新選組で一番強いのって結局誰なんだ？
やはり近藤局長じゃないかな。凄まじい豪の剣の使い手だと聞くぞ。
いやー、ここは土方副長だろう。何しろ鬼の副長だぜ。目つきも怖えし。
確かにあの目つきは。いや、関係ないだろ。
I guess for the warriors, it's important for them to know who's the strongest at any given time. When I see them hot in the debate of who is the strongest, I realize then that boys will be boys.
雪村先輩は誰が一番強いと思いますか？
正直なとこ教えてくれよ。男だったら誰が最強か気になるだろう。
But I'm a girl. Even though my own sword skills aren't great, if I had to answer, I think the strongest is... Did they give us a list? Holy shit. Okay, but the answer is Hijikata-san. Well... Just when I was about to give an answer. Those eyes.
へえ、随分と面白い話だね。
Okta! Previous is definitely the strongest. His eerily charming voice came from behind us. Oh no. Okta!
さっきから聞いてたら、僕より土方さんの方が強いとか。そんなザレ言を言うのはどの口かな。無駄な口叩く暇をなくしてあげるよ。
Oh no, we pissed off the sword of the Shinsengumi. Oh shit.
いやー、違うんですって。これは相場が気になるとか言い出すから。
いえ、俺のせいでもありません。
お前はどっちの味方なんだ。
As I turned to hear them frantically defending themselves, I silently prayed for their safety.